She broke my heart and left without even looking back. Not dramatically. Not like in movies where someone screams. Or throws things or begs for answers that will never come. No, it was worse than that. It was quiet. Controlled. The kind of leaving that feels like someone gently closing a door on your chest and turning the lock from the outside. One moment she was there, standing in our kitchen, holding her keys like she couldn't wait to use them, and the next, she was gone. No explanation that made sense. No argument worth remembering. Just a sentence I still replay in my head at the worst possible times. I can't do this anymore. And then she was gone. For weeks after, I kept expecting the world to react the way I felt inside, like something had shattered and everyone should be able to hear it. But nothing changed. The mail still came. The neighbors still waved. The coffee shop still got my order wrong. Life, I learned, doesn't pause for heartbreak. It just keeps moving like nothing happened. I tried to do the same. My name is Daniel Carter. And I live in a small house on the edge of a quiet suburb outside Columbus, Ohio. It's not much, just 2 bedrooms, a sagging porch, and a driveway that always seems to collect more leaves than it should. I used to think it was temporary, this house, like everything else in my life. I told myself I'd move when things got better. When I got promoted. When she and I figured things out. But she left before any of that happened. After she was gone, I stopped noticing details. I stopped caring if the porch light flickered or if the groceries were expiring too fast because I wasn't eating properly. Some days I would sit on the couch fully dressed, staring at a television I wasn't watching, wondering how someone could be so present in your life one day and just absent the next. The silence she left behind was louder than anything I had ever known. It was a little after 3 a.m. when I first heard the knock. At first, I thought I imagined it. The house had been too quiet for too long. And silence starts playing tricks on you. I lay there, eyes open, listening to the hum of the refrigerator and the distant sound of a passing car. Then came the knock again. 3 slow taps. I sat up immediately. Nobody knocks at 3 a.m. Not in my neighborhood. Not ever. I got out of bed slowly, every instinct telling me to ignore it. To let whoever it was leave. But something about the rhythm of it didn't feel threatening. It felt deliberate. Almost careful. I turned on the porch light before opening the door. And then I saw her. For a moment, my brain refused to process what my eyes were looking at. She was sitting on my porch step. Knees pulled close to her chest. Arms wrapped around herself like she was trying to hold all the broken pieces together. Her hair was damp from the night air. Her face, once so familiar it used to feel like home, was pale and exhausted. It was her. Lena. The same woman who had left me without explanation 3 months ago. Except now she looked nothing like the version of herself I had replayed in my mind during every sleepless night. That version was confident, certain, untouchable. This version looked human. Lena. I said, barely above a whisper. She didn't look up right away. When she finally did, her eyes met mine. And whatever I had prepared myself to feel, anger, confusion, resentment, it all collapsed into something I couldn't name. Hi, Daniel, she said softly. Like she hadn't destroyed my world. Like she hadn't disappeared. Like she hadn't just shown up at my door at 3 a.m. as if time meant nothing. I should have been angry. I wanted to be. I had rehearsed it in my head for months, what I would say if I ever saw her again. How I would demand answers. How I would protect whatever was left of my pride. But standing there, watching her shiver slightly in the cold, I couldn't find any of it. You can't just show up here, I said, but my voice lacked force. I know, she replied. That was it. No defense. No excuses. Just agreement. Something inside me cracked in a different way. I stepped aside without thinking. Come inside. You're freezing. She hesitated, like she didn't believe she deserved the offer. Then slowly, she stood and walked past me into the house. I watched her as she moved through my living room. Suddenly aware of how unchanged everything was. The same blanket on the couch. The same stack of unopened mail. The same life stuck in suspended grief. She sat on the edge of the sofa, hands trembling slightly. I made tea because it was the only thing I could think to do. My hands shook as I filled the kettle. Angry at myself for still knowing how she liked hers, extra sugar. Barely any milk. When I handed her the cup, her fingers brushed mine. And I felt something I hadn't allowed myself to feel in months. Not love. Not yet. But memory. Heavy, dangerous memory. Why are you here? I asked finally. She stared into the tea like it had answers. I didn't have anywhere else to go. That was not an explanation. But it was honest in a way I wasn't prepared for. I sat across from her, keeping distance between us like it was something physical that could protect me. You left without a word, I said quietly. You didn't even look back. Her eyes flickered. I know. Silence filled the room again, but this time it was different. It wasn't empty. It was full of everything we weren't saying. I thought you stopped loving me, I added. That made her look up fast. No, she said immediately. Too fast. Too broken. No, Daniel. It wasn't that. Then what was it? Her hands tightened around the cup. For a long moment, I thought she wouldn't answer. Then she whispered, I was sick. The words didn't register at first. Sick is a vague word. It could mean anything. A cold. Stress. Something temporary. But her face told me it wasn't temporary. I didn't want you to watch it, she continued. I didn't want to become someone you had to take care of instead of someone you loved. My throat tightened. So you decided for me. Her eyes filled, but she didn't let the tears fall. I decided for both of us. Anger flickered again, but it was weaker now. Fragile. You don't get to make that choice alone, I said. I know. She repeated. Again. Quietly. As if she had been carrying those two words for months. We sat in silence for a long time after that. The kind of silence that doesn't separate people, but connects them in the worst possible way, through shared pain. Finally, I asked, why come back now? She set the cup down carefully. Like her hands couldn't hold anything else without breaking. Because I got worse, she said. And I realized. I was more afraid of dying without seeing you again than I was of what I was trying to protect you from. That broke something in me completely. Not loudly. Not dramatically. Just quietly, like ice finally giving way under too much weight. I leaned back in my chair, staring at her like she might disappear again if I blinked too hard. I don't know what you expect from me, I said. I don't expect anything, she replied. I just didn't want to do this alone anymore. The honesty of it sat between us like something fragile and alive. I should have told her to leave. I should have protected myself. I should have